Hi, my dearest beloved friends. First of all, please note that starting from today's video, we are going to post our new ones every 3 weeks instead of two. And the important reason for that is, first of all, to give all of us more time to integrate the current information. As you perhaps noticed, that it becomes more intense and concentrated, and we need time to do our self-work. And another very important reason is that we don't want to be your source of spiritual sustenance. Otherwise, we would contradict our objective to live as the self-sustained and self-sufficient beings. Today, we'll have 3 foundational truths taught by Almin to come alive for us in a very special way, as we will see what they really mean. And we now see that they're not just philosophical concepts. They are truly the keys that open for us the realms of the third ring of power. First of all, is that your being is your sustenance. Then we will see why we can't impose our wills on others, and also why we can't let others to impose their wills on us. And we will see in more details why the thoughts or traditional thinking processes are resistance to life. All of those 3 foundational truths are actually the 3 truths that pertain to the third ring of power. And we can't start our actual self-empowerment sessions without making sure that we really understand all of them. Figuratively speaking, we can't build a house without laying our foundation first. Also, we are going to see the true meaning of what the underworlds are. We heard about the existence of all kinds of underworlds, an upper underworld, a lower underworld, and we can't practice the third ring of power and even the advanced levels of the second ring of power if we still live in some of those underworlds. And if something is not clear enough, please, you are welcome to contact me personally and ask your questions. If you truly aspire to become a master of the third ring of power, first of all, you need to make sure who you really are and why your being is your sustenance. Also, to make sure that you don't live in any of the underworlds. Also, make sure that you never impose your will on others, and you don't let others impose their will on you. And also that your mind operates in accordance with the third ring of power, which is totally different from its operations within the previous rings. So first and foremost, who are you really? You know that you are not your body. That's why you never let it be a dominant force in your life. Your body follows you and not vice versa. You are not your instincts, your feelings, thoughts, and emotions. You use your bodily and mental functions as you see it appropriate, and you don't let your body and other people's ideas be a guiding force in your life. To follow your bodies is to resist life. We are the one and only guiding force for ourselves. You know that the true you, your infinite self, has never been a child. It had never been born. It's eternal and timeless. It does need to grow to perfection because it's timelessly perfect in its wisdom and its capacities. Your potential is infinite, it's boundless. Although you use only what you need at any given moment. And when the next moment comes, you will express yourself according to what happens next. That's why you never worry about failing, because the true you can never fail. Unless you believed someone who told you that failure is possible, or any kind of shortage is possible, or as if your power is limited for some made-up reason. So now, what is the underworld? It's very simple. It's when we live under somebody else's world. It can be one person, some so-called great spiritual masters or gurus, Or it can be the entire community of gurus that tell you how to live and what to do with your life according to their ideas. And if someone already lives in somebody else's underworld, and in addition to that, he has his own interpretation of this underworld, and he tries to impose it on someone else, and if this someone else accepts that interpretation of somebody else, then he gets under the world of this someone else. And it already means that the underworld underworld uh, is being created, or the lower underworld. And there can be limitless numbers of levels here. Like, for example, in my spiritual search, I came across one of the largest international spiritual communities. It was in 1989, and it was under the leadership of someone with his wife. And all community members literally lived the lives of their leader. Everybody had his picture with his wife and children on the walls of their homes. Everybody knew about their personal lives, the lives of their leaders, their schedules, listened to his teachings days and nights, literally. So they lived under this person's world. Did they have their own lives? No. Did they have time to listen to their own selves? No. They were busy listening to his tapes. It was in those times of cassette tapes and cassette players, tape after tape after tape. And then they had regular small group discussions on what they listened and learned from those teachings. This is an example of life in the underworld. If someone is still wondering what the hell is, now you know for sure. They all lived under their leader's world or within their leader's world. It's the same. Again, we ask ourselves the question, do we live our own lives or within someone else's world in the underworld? That's why Team Almin Russia and International are never and will never be your spiritual teachers and leaders. Our function for you is the temporary service providers. And we can create an abbreviation here, TSP. This is who we are, your TSP, temporary service providers. And what's our service? To remind you what you know, what you always knew as a timeless eternal being. Just in case if you are still lost in somebody else's underworld, or you are still confusing yourself with your physical body, or something is still not completely clear. Most of us know about little children like 3 years of age, 4 years of age, 5 years of age, and sometimes they can express words of such profound timeless wisdom, which they didn't have opportunity to learn naturally. And then some of their parents may tell them, don't speak about the things that you don't know about. You're too small to speak like that. And if their true selves believed that message, they're now limited by their new beliefs. And now they're confined to their physical age or to their parents' limiting belief system about their physical age. Now they live in their parents' underworld, where they're either completely paralyzed in their self-expression or severely limited. They just become like everybody else. They're fellow citizens of hell. So if we live in someone else's world, we live in hell. Or if we allow others to live in our world, then we live in each other's hells. That's why we never attempt to impose our will on others, and we never let others to impose their wills on us. We live only in accordance with the wills of our own. And if we don't live in the underworld, then our true, timeless, infinite selves express themselves naturally in their full power. And we don't have to teach ourselves how to be powerful or how to be wise, how to live their infinite potential, because all of these are natural expressions of the free self, free beings that create only their own worlds naturally. Even if we live in the third ring of power, does it the underworld try to bleed through? In the dream time, waking hours, yes. Suddenly here come memories of the past or worries about the future. What to do? Resist. and bring your mind back to the present moment immediately, back to here and now. Surrendering to the underworld is resisting life. Resisting the underworld is surrendering to life, to the infinite being. We no longer worry about how to manifest things. And now we are talking about the way the infinite self operates its mind. There is nothing wrong and nothing has ever been wrong with our minds. The only difference between the free mind and the underworld mind is their contents. The underworld mind is filled with someone else's world and its content, their belief systems, their imposed lifestyles that they could impose on us, their imposed wills. If we ever lived in our hells according to someone else's will, and when we get out of the underworlds, our minds are now free to operate in their original pristine way. For example, the true infinite self doesn't know anything about impossibility thinking. It doesn't believe in limitations. It doesn't know what the lack or shortage is. It operates in the reality of boundless, unlimited power and resources. And it doesn't think about manifesting something because it knows that everything is available at any time. It doesn't know what failure or mistake is. The true you never make any mistakes. Unfortunately, there's no word in English that can define the function of the mind of the true self. The most popular word here is the verb to think. So I need to teach you some Russian. No dictionary translates it correctly. Соображать instead of думать, which means to think. People think, analyze, judge, compare only in the underworlds, where they think, compare, analyze, and it's still pertinent to the second ring of power, where we try to manifest things in time, thinking along the ideas of lack, shortage of resources. That's why we needed to visualize something, to manifest something, and it worked. It even works in the underworlds to some degree. And here in the third ring of power, we know that everything is available all the time. We just use it instead of manifesting. There's nothing to manifest. Everything already is. It's available now. We just need to see where it is and what to do with it. This is how the mind of the infinite self works. We know what to do and we do it. To translate соображать literally, it's to act in accordance with the dynamic pictures or images or inner knowing that we always see within ourselves in real time. In the third ring of power, everything happens in real time, not in the future, not manifesting in the future. Everything happens in the real time. Real time. There's no sense of the future, no sense of the past. We don't think about the future anymore. We don't think about the past anymore because all this is no longer relevant. The world is dynamically changing and it's pointless to plan our lives or manifestation in accordance with today's reality. But you always have infinite wisdom and power to be what you need to be and to create what you need to create in any circumstances, even if you will wake up tomorrow morning and you don't recognize anything around. You woke up in a totally new world and you will not be disoriented. You will know in real time what's next, what to do, and you will just do what you know. You always know what to do no matter what. How is it possible? Because the true you knows everything all the time. It doesn't think. Соображать in Russian means to act in accordance with a dynamic inner knowledge, inner knowing, pictures or images, if you are visual, that you always see or know within yourself in real time. So the most important question here is, what exactly do you see now? What exactly is clear to you now? Not necessarily a picture, an image, a vision. Inner knowing is enough. You just know within yourself. We say, oh, I see. And we mean that now it's clear. Now you know and understand something. And there's never a time when you don't see in the third ring of power. No need to wait. You always know, you always see, you always understand. You always have clarity. You are never confused, never disoriented here. Everything is always clear to you. Like you wake up in the morning and, for example, you clearly see, you absolutely know that it's time to build a house. And you don't analyze, you don't ask questions, whether or not you have enough funds or resources, whether or not you can afford it. You just start moving towards this direction, step by step by step. You always know what's next, what your next step should be. And the next step, the next step. And here's your house. It may take a while, a year or maybe more. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you followed your steps as you knew within, step by step by step. This is how life of your infinite self works. Almin says, thoughts resist life. What if you started to think, oh, I don't have enough money, I'm not sure if I can afford it, I don't have this, I don't have that? You would hypothetically resist your inner vision, hypothetically, because those kinds of things can only be possible in the underworlds, when someone is still under the influence of someone else's world. If we don't get out of the underworlds, they'll eventually kill us. Or we are also killers when we try to govern someone else's world, someone else's lives. Everyone lives lives of their own. Do we influence others? Yes. As TSP, temporary service providers, by our words and the examples of our lives, we can inspire others to live the lives of their own, to live free lives as the true infinite selves. If we dominate or try to submit others to ourselves, we kill them. And we kill ourselves. Because in this process, we contaminate them and ourselves as we penetrate into each other's worlds. By default, your personal world is toxic for others. And others' personal worlds are toxic for you. If someone tries to involve you in their personal dramas, you say, no, I have no right to invade your personal world. You don't participate in other people's lives. We can communicate with others, but without mutual invasions. I hope this is clear enough. But what is then the function of the spiritual leader or teacher? That's why we are not teachers. We are not the gurus. We are TSP, temporary service providers. Again, there's a word for it in Russian, which doesn't have its counterpart in English, literal English translation. Nastavnik, from the word stavit in Russian, to make you stand. Stavit, make you stand. Stand on your own feet, in your own self-sovereignty, as a self-sovereign, self-sufficient being. Also, to make you stand for your own selves whenever it's necessary. You can always say no to others if they try to suck you into their worlds. Traditional spiritual teachers try to make their students follow them and obey their teachings. Nastavnik makes sure that you stand firmly on your own feet. You don't need anyone to carry you. You have always been and are and will be infinitely powerful. The true you always was and is and will be perfect, all-powerful, and all-knowing being. It doesn't need to grow in strength, grow in wisdom. It's complete. You just need a gentle reminder about it, about what you already know. And that's all you need, maybe sometimes. And this is our function as TSPs, temporary service providers. It's temporary, as long as you need reminders. Then we are here for you only temporarily, because you are going to stand firmly on your feet very, very soon. That's why we're going to talk only every 3 weeks now. We don't want to make you dependent on daily or weekly words or even bi-weekly words of someone else. You need time to listen to your own wisdom, to live your own lives. Never put our pictures on your wall, please. If you want to put some picture on your wall, put your own picture there and make only yourself first in your life. And We don't have to worry about others. Others will come to us in the perfect timing. They'll cooperate, they'll participate when and if needed. When we keep first things first, when you put yourself and only yourself first. And now, very briefly, the lifestyle of the third ring of power. Every day, every moment, you just know what you have to do and you just do it. Very simple. What are you doing when you are not busy with your work or daily activities? You love to spend your leisure time in complete silence and solitude, listening to your own wisdom, getting clarity on things if needed, taking care of your body, very important, abundance of sleep, abundance of rest, relaxation, healthy nourishment. It's your personal time. Complete silence restores and regenerates your brain and your body. This is the scientific fact. It's your life. You don't need external stimulation, noisy entertainment, movies, things like that, because they're like the black holes getting us sucked into their underworlds. Your family members, if you live with a family, must honor your solitude, your personal time, your personal boundaries. Interaction with others, if it's meaningful and based on healthy informational exchange. For more details, I recommend you the related video, The Spark of Creation. We'll give you a link in the description here. For those who live in the third ring of power, this is the only possible way of communications, because there are no dependent or codependent relationships here. All dependent and codependent relationships are possible only in the underworlds, where people live in their worlds. Actually, not in their worlds, but in the worlds of other people. Here, I live in my world. You live in your world. And we can communicate. We can exchange without invading one another. I hope it's clear. If you have questions, please let me know. There are no and will never be any forbidden topics here. And now we are ready for the actual self-empowerment sessions. Our first one will be in 3 weeks. Talk to you soon.